Welcome back to yet another episode of our Love Journey podcast. And you want to see the podcast part. So with you is me, your host, Olivia Nyamu, and my co-host,
Jade Kishuri.
Yeah. And we'd like to take this moment to just thank you for those who are still with us, listening and learning from us. I think our last episode, I decided to really lay my, self on the table to talk about where I was at that point, my anxiety for work, for parenting and all these things, finances. And we talked about how we still continue working with God and how to lean on Him and to rely on Him for everything that you do. Yeah.
And we look forward to an episode that in time to come, that you'll just be saying, people, hold up. I go rest.
Amen. Yeah. So really, we really pray that we shall have that episode here. And I pray that any of you who was in that season, chat us and let us know where you are at. And if you feel like God has left you, like I was feeling that time, but He is still with you. So today we want to deep dive into another hard episode. Yeah. I feel like now we are really getting people into our spaces, kabisa, So this is August, and August is a heavy month for you, Pastor Jade.
Yeah, it is.
And I think we'll want to just touch on that. But it'll be an episode. This is just the start of this episode, of the meaning this topic that we're going to have even in future. So why is August a hard month for you?
Yeah,
Jade?
so we're entering the grieving. I think August has morphed to be such a this month, the grieving month. It's like it's sort of, I lost my dad. My dad passed on in August, the year 2021, and So, he hadn't been sick. He's been sick before and gone to hospital like a few years before. And then he had been sick with prostate for maybe 2 years by then. But then this time for COVID. I think the second bout or whatever it was being called, because 2020 was big then 2021.
Yes.
So he fell sick, was admitted on a Monday, passed on by Saturday. And I remember the call. It was my turn to go to hospital that morning. And I was married to my brother and my sister had been going in the week. I had gone, like the last time I had gone, I think was Wednesday or Thursday. Then I knew my sister and my bro were going. But even when I went, I was just shocked with the machine and whatever. And I couldn't handle. But then he needed a certain medicine.
The
medicine. Remember the medicine?
Yes, there was some medicine
we were supposed to 203. Yeah. And so I was trying to source for it. And Sarah was helping. We were calling hospitals. And a friend of mine was just like, I'm ready to swipe my card. I keep bless her. She's always very ready. Then Saturday on my way to see him, because now I've been told it's on full-time ventilator. It was August 5th or 7th. I don't know why I'm forgetting the date. But we buried him on August 12th. Then the hospital calls and asks me, are you on the way? Why are you? I said, I'm on the way. Oh, okay. All right, we'll see you when you get here. Then my bro calls. Have they called you? I said, Allah? Yeah, they said even mom has called me. They have called asking, unakuja, are you coming to hospital? It would be nice if you came. I'm like, we said, that must be it. And for real, I got to hospital. My bro also got there. We got around the same time. And my dad was on the bed and he was still as warm because they had been trying. He had already passed. By the time they were calling us, he had already passed on. So yeah, my dad died.
I'm sorry.
Actually, this it really breaks my heart that my dad died. Yeah. So August tends to be such an interesting month because before my dad had lost my bro in March. But I always feel like my bro, remember my bro, God had told me, and I used to tell you guys, he is gonna go. Yeah. He just needs to get saved. And I had the dream about my bro dying. And I used to tell you guys, watch, so pray, he's not gonna get well. You know, when I come to life group and tell you, and I was like, no, let's go pray. You even went to see him on the day God saved. Was it on your birthday? Did you go?
Yes.
Yeah, March 3rd.
Yeah.
because the day he got saved, as he's admitted in Pisha, and I was like, Ulimwombe, because what the only thing you should visit him for is
I'd
get
promised
saved.
to bring him something. I can't remember.
I
He
don't
wanted
know what
something.
it was.
Can't remember what he wanted.
So with my bro, I always find grieving has been a very interesting journey for me, because with my brother, I was okay because my God had shown me and had told me, you know, this guy is coming home. Then I was like, which home? Because he's not born again. So I remember my mom calling me twice because he had to move from his home back to my parents because now he's very sick. I don't even remember the word of the sickness he was, because his lungs were collapsing and the trachea, he was not breathing. So first we thought it was TB because he was coughing, blood, whatever. My mom called me at 2 a.m. I think he's gone. You need to come. I'm like, did he get saved? No. The hand dead. Like, I was so confident with Jesus. You know, that's, as you say, I tend to, if I believe it, I go with it. So my mom used to tell me, are you crazy? Like, we are calling you at 2 a.m. Come, take, because we think he's going. I'm like, did he say he's born again? No. Then he's not dead. So calling me. You know, it happened twice. Then I had to go and tell my mom, by the way, he's not dead until he gets saved. If he gets saved,
now he's going.
And that's exactly what happened. He got saved, sent us messages. It was March 3rd when he sent us the messages. It was a birthday. And we were coming home for a group, life group. So, and I remember crying. Remember, I walked into the house and we had a stranger who had joined Phil. And another guy. Yeah, and he never came back.
Guitarist.
I can't remember. Because he never came back, because how we were all crying, because we still know he saved, he's dying. And so we were all crying. We said, morning, he's passed on. He's gonna die. And it's true, Thursday, his first lung collapsed, Friday, passed on. And even him, I got there just like 5 minutes before he passed on. And I'd send him a message, I'm coming to cut your nails. I cut his nails, closed his eyes. That's when I cried. I was like, okay. But I mourned my brother, but I don't know how to explain.
You were prepared.
Yeah, I was prepared. I felt that the Lord had involved me. Hey, like we really take our relationship with God in some serious manner, because I was feeling we have done it together. Now my dad, he didn't. It was from nowhere. Yeah. Like, really, he's gone. But when the last time I was there, the doctors had shown me me and my sister X-rays and whatever, and the conversation sounded like he's gonna come home with tanks of oxygen and what and all these things we have to do. Then I thought my dad, who has worked to the last day, was going to town every day, even that COVID with the mask and whatever. Even he got that COVID from a funeral, because he was still living life and he was 78 years old and he still was going everywhere. I was like, my dad will not thrive. It will really destroy him to think he's bedridden or whatever. But I was like, yeah, so he needs to get well.
We shall figure it out.
No, in fact, I was like, no, he needs to get well. Oxygen tanks are not coming home. So he passed on, and I remember I really cried. Now, I also accepted the loss, because the Lord told me, it's mercy I've shown him. This mercy, I show mercy to who I'll show mercy. I kid you not. Those were God's word when I was asking him. Really? At least allow him to let the kids, my twins, graduate, because my dad had been amazing to us. When my marriage ended, I came back home, and he always used to tell me, you can come back home. And I remember I didn't want to go live in Buru near them back. And I was like, no, you shame me. He's like, no, for them, if I could have gotten a house next door, would have really helped. But I didn't live so far. Yeah. But as I've said before, and my early years until 20-something, my dad was in alcoholism. So we missed a lot of his input. But he got saved and changed his life. So the last 20-something years, he was an amazing dad and grandfather. I think everything he didn't do much for us, he did for my children. Really did. You remember, he really did. I mean, taking them to school. I mean, he really showed up. So my father died in August. Yeah. So I always feel like, wow. And then the thing about the death of my dad was, for a minute, I felt naked. Like something has shifted from under me. A covering. Yeah, like I was, now I'm unbalanced. Yeah. And then you didn't know that you were balanced. I felt exposed. Yeah. And in all honesty, my dad didn't have an army. Like, he was a very simple guy, but I felt very exposed, because one of the things about dad is that I would call him, I need this. Like now, I've just remembered, I have not paid my land rate. Since he passed. Because, oh my gosh, somebody needs to remind me. January, I'll be 5 years. We need to edit that part, because oh my gosh, they might come for me. I'll tell them, please, huruma. So yeah, so I miss his knowing I could call him. I've not deleted his number. I called it another day on his birthday in May. I didn't even, because he's born in May, and I called it and it's still mteja. And I'm like, wow, it's still mteja. You know, my bro, I kept his phone on for a year. I used to answer his phone calls. It was crazy. I used to answer his calls. So then and I was happy to tell people he died. Not happy, but I was just in shock. I was happy to keep saying, because that's the only way I was, admitting, yeah, my bro went. Now my dad are just checking. I didn't keep the phone. I gave it back to my mom. I didn't want to do that whole thing I did. So August gives me a lot of emotions around grief. I lost my niece in newly born.
What was her name?
Yeah, I don't even know whether I can talk about my niece without. Let me tell you a weird thing about the grief. You see how I've lost my bro, I've lost my dad, and my niece. And every time I see these things online, who do you want to come back? Who has Nini?
See your niece.
I always say my niece. Like I just feel past home.
I think it's because your bro had finished. Like even when he got saved, like this is it. It is finished. Your dad, as much as it was not predicted, or he also had his journey and it was finished, and where he went. For this other one, because she died just a few hours after. So it is.
I received her at 6, and by 6 I was telling my baby sister.
Yeah,
I really feel it for my sister.
So I think that's the thing, that you feel like this was a story that didn't start or end. It started, but it's
So August really does get me into Aka funk. It's gotten better over the time, but I find grief Jesus has had to love me through my grief, and I think he's very merciful, because at my brother's time I was still grappling with the love of God. Like I knew I was loved, but I didn't know what I know now.
Just freshly
rededicated my life to Christ, trying to learn who God is. Yeah, I don't know. You have grieved too.
I have grieved. Yeah. But as you're talking, I'm just thinking through that journey, and for me, it's 2020. I always laugh when people talk about COVID, 2020 COVID. It's interesting. I don't remember COVID. Like I don't remember COVID. The beginning of COVID, I was the one who was keeping numbers. But they used to sit in the house because I think we were homebound at that time. I'm the one who was like, oh my God, they've reached 1 million. Oh my God, they used to have that speed, whatever. Not speedometer, whatever meter that used to count the people who have died. I was obsessed with it. But April 18th is when I stopped. Like I stopped caring about COVID. You can all die of COVID.
My gosh.
What? Yeah, so for me it was 2020 was a very interesting year. It was the year that I was going to come back. I don't know whether that makes sense. Like though it started by me being given a retrenchment letter. Said by January being given a retrenchment letter, but in February I was getting married.
Imagine
I got married in February 22. Valentine's Day. Telling me I have days I don't like. Valentine's is one of them. So our romanticness told us to get married on Valentine's Day. And I remember grappling with getting married because I was being retrenched, and I was the primary, what do you mean? I'm the one who had the constant salary. In the house, So, and I'm here thinking, I'm planning a wedding and I'm losing my job. What do you? But God told me, you know what? You do your plans. Your plans was marriage. Finish the wedding. And I mean, we had stayed with this guy for 6 years.
Yeah.
For 6 years, I had waited for a wedding. So there was no way we were going to postpone this thing. So we ended up in the wedding. That was in February 14th. Then, so just like now, mine was even shocking because it was an abrupt.
Yes, it was a car accident.
It was a car accident. I remember that week was the week I was waiting for a response on my retrenchment. But funny enough, he was so positive. He was like, you're getting that job. Like, they're not retrenching you. So the Friday 17th is the Friday. So every evening he used to come home and ask, have they called you? Have they told you they're retaining you? And I'm like, hey man, you have faith. I have faith. Me, I was busy working because I'm being retrenched. But on Friday, my CEO calls me. There's a project we're doing with him. He calls me and tells me, Olivia, we've decided we're not going to retrench you, but you have to meet these terms. So you have to meet these terms for you to stay in your job. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Terms are, it's learning something, doing what I'm like, I think I have a brain, I'm still a choppy. So that was Friday. So I was excited to tell him finally, your faith is moving. But the CEO told me his child will call me. So I didn't want to preempt telling Newton was his name, before HR calls me. So I didn't tell him that Friday. He came and was like, they haven't told you anything? And he said, no. I told him, no, bado. So Saturday morning, I woke up, and the irony of that day is he woke up earlier than normal. So I'm like, hey, babe, why are you going on a Saturday at 8 o'clock? You know, Saturday is the day you all sleep in. And she's like, yeah, I have some clients I want to go see. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then I told him I'm feeling a bit off. I was just feeling off. But we talked. That morning we talked. It was so interesting. We talked about, he started doing push-ups. He used to do push-ups. He was like, Kitambi nakuja. I feel like I'm gaining weight. And I'm like, yeah. You know you're married. No married people gain weight.
Yeah, they gain weight. That's what they say. Yes.
So he was doing push-ups there as I'm dissing him. And then we talked about the outfit he wore for our wedding. Our wedding, we made him some jeans. He was very tall. He was 6'5". So getting jeans that fitted was so hard. So we had gotten a foodie so he was like, hey, I love this. We need to go back to this guy and get more pants that fit me, because most of his pants were 3/4 because of his height, you know. It was just,
he needed his own tailor.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, we are going back. So we had some here-there conversations. Anyway, he left. He went to the sitting room, talked to the kids. Me, I went back to bed. At 10, as usual. So the thing about this guy is he used to call me every day since the day I met him. Every day at lunch. So he called me at 10. He's like, babe, your stomach? I'm like, hey, it's still feeling funny. Like, go to Jose. I'm like, let me observe it. I'll let you know. So no, we continue. And that evening, we used to host game nights. It was COVID, we were locked in. So we are there, I'm cooking as usual. I'm in the kitchen. I get a phone call from his sister. Tells me. No, I got a phone call from my cousin. My cousin tells me, I'm waiting for your husband. He's told me, because my cousin was coming for the game nights. I'm waiting for your husband at the shopping center. He's told me to wait for him. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you guys know it is 6 o'clock. Like, it is 6.
Coffee is
like,
coming.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I am. So he continue cooking. Then his sister calls me. And I get a call from his sister. I'm like, yeah. Like, have you talked to this call Moriki? Have you talked to Moriki? Like, I've just been called by someone who's told me he's been in an accident. We go to Mbagathi. But they cutted her, like disconnected. I called his phone. It wasn't picked up. I called my cousin. I'm like, have you talked to him? Has he told you me in my head, I'm thinking it's they're called Benda Fender. Like, for me, that is what I thought. Like, it's just like a kugongana. My cousin's like, no one has called me. So I called back the sister. I'm like, sorry, you said what? Then she's like, Katia, I've just been told to go to Mbagathi. I'm like, so I grab my keys, I leave. And as I'm leaving, someone tells me, you can't drive. I don't know. The spirit tells me you can't drive. So I call my cousin and tell him, baby, come and pick me. So my cousin comes. My sister was living with us. We went. And I tell you, when we passed Mbagathi, because the accident was at Mbagathi, I saw the car and I knew, whoever was in this car. No, it was being lifted. So at that moment, I called two of my friends. I called Kendi, called Priscilla, and I told them, pray. Just told them, pray. I've just been called. Newton has been in an accident. Please pray. Then I called my mom. I told her, please pray. Then and I tell you, we reached. So now I kept calling. Oh yeah, when I was leaving, I kept calling his number. But then I kept calling it. It rings, it finishes, it rings. I'm just like, please pick up. Please pick up. Finally, someone picks up. And I'm like, please give the owner of that phone. I want to talk to the owner of that phone. They're like, madam, he can't speak. I want to talk to him. Then he's like, funny if you come to Kenyatta, but drive slowly. So first of all, I'm disturbed. I'm like, first of all, we've been told to go to Mbagathi. It's like, Katia, Jenny Kenyatta. I'm like, okay. Why am I driving slowly? You know, the things you read, they're like, me in my head, I'm thinking I have my insurance card. We are not going to Kenyatta. It is Nairobi Hospital. Like, please, you know. So I rushed there. When we reached the city mortuary roundabout, you guy. Me became paralyzed. Hapo ndo nilijua siku nzuri. My body became paralyzed. All I could move was my head. My hands refused. And I thank God that's why I didn't drive. Because imagine if I was driving. So we fika. Anyway, long story short, we fika and my cousin goes and me, I couldn't move. I couldn't go. So my cousin goes and then comes back and says,
it's not that.
It's normal. Yeah, and trust me, the Luya in me, I didn't have a Luya in me. The Luya in me came out at that point. But it's amazing that you say about your dad, you had been preempted. I remember in January, I kept seeing a day. I kept seeing someone is going to die. Kid you not, I wrote a will.
What? Because you thought it was you.
I thought it was me. I'm like, the Lord is showing me someone is dying.
Yeah, it can only be me.
It can only be me. Yeah. I wrote my will. I called my sister. I told my sister, these are my things. This is where they are at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't call my husband. Right?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Then I'm like, I don't know who it is. So I am praying it is not my parents. The most you can do is pray. So I'm praying it's not any of my siblings. Then my husband, I'm like, hey babe, if you were to die, where will you? Like, are you okay with the Lord? Then he kept telling me, in fact, I hear this phrase every time and I get annoyed. Like, babe, can we talk about good vibes? Good vibes only. Good vibes. We're talking about these things.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So I really nagged the guy about it, you know? Anyway, long story short, the good thing is, I know he was saved because he used to serve in church when he was young. And I always believe that so long as he had already accepted it. But the Sunday before he died, we were watching church.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying.
We were watching church.
Yes, service, yes.
And for the first time, normally Mavuno don't do this, but for the first time, Pastor Kevin did a called benediction.
Altar.
He did an altar. I don't know why he did an altar.
Call.
He did an altar call. And I remember our seats used to be
which is asking people to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. In case someone asking altar call. Yes.
So I was seated and he was seated. Our chairs used to
face each other.
And as Pastor Kevin was saying, please say this prayer after me. And I watched him and he said the prayer. So for me, that has always given me peace that, you know what?
Yes.
He said that prayer. He did.
Yes.
So, yeah, and just like that, I moved from being married 2 months to...
From honeymoon, 2 months in it, to planning a funeral.
Wow. You know? Yeah. So it is interesting that you said something about when your brother died, actually you sent us a message and said, Labo is dead.
Yeah, that's like what I wrote. He's dead.
Which ironically is what I did also when Newton died. I was in so much shock.
Yeah, it's shock.
As we're trying to figure out where we're going to put him. Hey, we took him to KU. My friend, it was a journey. That night was a long day. By the time we're coming back home, it was midnight. KU refused to take him after 3 hours of begging. Anyway, long story. So I was texting people. I'm telling them Newton is dead. You know, people are like, he just got married. Like, what do you mean he's dead?
Other day.
I'm like, yeah, Newton is dead. And yeah, and just like that, I started a journey that one of the things when you're talking about you felt a covering being left. For me, I think I lost my identity. I felt like I lost my identity because I am no longer Mrs. Whoever. I had actually just been Mrs. Whoever for 2 months.
Yeah.
I feel like my family was left exposed. You cannot go back to your parents' home. You're no longer. I really don't feel like today. I don't feel like I belong there because I really left there.
Yes, yeah.
And his family did their thing, and as usual. African men don't die, they're always killed. So there was a story there. So I don't belong in their family anymore. So yeah, for me, I feel like a covering was completely removed from me and my kids.
Wow, that's actually your biggest loss in this grief. Yeah, that you lost your identity.
Completely.
Yeah.
Even filling forms, you don't know whether you're feeling Miss, Mrs. Who are you?
I know. Widow, I don't know.
They normally don't have that. They have Miss, or others.
Yeah. Those nowadays, they've added separated and divorced. We have a...
The first time I filled in a form because immediately after he died in April, right? We were still in COVID, and we were still doing homeschooling and all these things. Then somewhere in September, I get a call by CID and I'm being told I'm being investigated. I killed my husband. Anyway, long story for another day. But one of the things the DCI told me was, you need to move.
Oh yeah, from where you're staying.
They told me, we feel like your life is in danger. Like, these guys are very angry. They really think you killed a guy who was in a road. So I had to move. Anyway, I moved to where I live now. And as I was moving, so I had to transfer my kids to a different school. So when we moved here, because kids were not going back to school, I think that's October. And I filled forms and I'm there filling in forms and the forms are there asking, Father, Aki, you know, I used to write. I used to write his name because he's the father.
Yeah.
For number, I'm like, not applicable.
Not applicable.
You know,
wow.
Like, or address, I write heaven.
Oh my.
Okay, for real, I write
I know, grief is so crazy.
It's written heaven.
When you're...
So the first time I filled those forms, I cried. Back at that woman, the admin is looking at me like, are you okay? Is there something wrong with the form? So that gave me a minute. I cried as I'm filling in. But they wrote heaven. Father is in heaven.
Wow.
That is his address now.
It's true. Identity must have been your biggest loss.
Yeah.
It was because as I said, I felt like Karen had left because I remember the first time I had to write next of kin. I froze. So my next of kin since I left my marriage has always been my dad. So I sat there. Then I called my sis, you have to be my next of kin. She's like, why are you? is there something else? No, I am sick. Because now I got sick. Remember, I got
COVID.
sick immediately. He died. I got COVID and I was sick. So I'm okay in Nairobi. I was in Karen because I'd gone. Anyway, my mom also didn't do the funeral because she also got COVID. So she was in hospital. Then months later, when I'm filling a form, because I'm also being treated, actually not the Karen one, another one. I was just in next of kin. I was like, I had to call my baby sister.
Yeah.
Oh, you've just been upgraded.
You're my new official next.
I mean, and she used to be like when my marriage ended, like in pension because of my kids. Will I leave my children? Like it was always, but now literally everything up to now, I just write my sister.
Yeah.
Like she's my, that really, really hit me.
Yeah.
So the receptionist is wondering why I'm crying because I'm asking myself, what's your ID? I'm just crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, gosh, I have shifted. My dad is not here. I think that loss of living without my dad on earth was quite, I didn't fight God. And I think I fought God on my knees.
Yeah.
And I think I still feel like I still ask him 1, 2, 3 questions about my knees.
Yeah.
But my bro, I don't fight God. But the loss is so big. I feel he should have lived to see my kids graduate. God should have allowed, there were so many things my dad would have at least, to be part of after all the redemption of his life.
Yeah.
And my dad had become such a good person. Like I've said it before, I said it at his funeral, the best gift parents can give their children is be born again. Because then you do things from what Christ allows you to do. And it will also allow your children to accept you as you are because the Spirit of the Lord is flowing.
Yeah.
And my dad, when God saved, there's a year, before that he had asked for forgiveness because of his one-on-one with me.
No.
But then he did a family thing.
Wow.
In, I think 2011, December, when my bro did another program and enough and then came and need to ask forgiveness. Then my dad said even him, he went up, stayed upstairs, came back downstairs. I remember later him telling me his stomach was running because he was so nervous. And then when he died, as I was sorting through his things, I'm the one who went and sorted all his things. And I was just on this work mode. I found the book where he had written a draft first of the forgiveness.
Oh my
then
God,
it's cancelled. Then
so
it was in Kikuyu. Then he realized, then he changed to English. Even now, it's still on my bedside.
Wow.
The whole thing, I was like,
oh, wow.
He really loved on us and he really owned, because I remember him saying his fathering, how he brought us up, he believes affected, my sister, myself, all of us were affected. And he was like, he's so sorry. And,
wow.
my mom had her eyes open like, what? As guys, of course, were in tears. And so I feel every August, I just think my dad is not alive. And I miss him so much. I miss my dad. I miss my dad. He was such a cool person. Then he was for me.
For real, he was.
Yeah, he was for me. He did my divorce. He saw me broken and said, you never need to come again. Come on the last day. I'll do this with your lawyer.
He really was your, what do you call it? There's a word I want to use. Your cheerer. He was your cheering. Because even in school, when you went back to school.
Yeah, he was right there. He said, I'll pay for you. He me back to school. I want to do this counseling degrees. Let's do it. Him and my mom. But even his loss brought a bigger loss. And this is on Grieving. Because my mom has now recovered. So in an essence, I feel like I lost both my parents in some sense. So she's physically actually loving. But my mom really was hit by it. And the dementia is settling in. And there's a thing about losing one parent. I don't know. People can tell me whether it happens to them. But you once you lose one, you look at the other and you're like, imagine when you can go. Like it crystallizes to you. Like, yeah, kumbe our parents were going to go. So I feel like now my grieving process of my dad has also made me grieve my mom alive. I don't even know how to say. First of all, because she's not herself. Yeah. She's not my best friend like she was before. We're very tight. Now now I feel like there was double loss. There was I don't know. But then in it all, I don't know, has God showed up for you or are you still grappling with him about the fact
I'm a single mother that I never wanted to be a single mother. We have our moments.
Yeah.
Like this, because of the season I was in with Jobo and all that, I was like, I wish you were here so that you can hold forth as I try to figure out my head, my headspace. Do I grapple? I honestly do, because there are times where I need to be somewhere, and if he was there, it would have been easy for him to do that. And one of the things I was so sure, even in my youth, is I never wanted to be a single mom. I never wanted to be a single mom. Me, I'd told people. The people say that's the man Rukan. I'll have comments. You're not Rukan this child, because I'm not doing this thing. Because I've always said I don't believe I have the maternal instinct.
You've always not believed, but you do, yeah.
He had it. He was, but with him, when it came to his kids,
yeah.
Let me tell you, the time my daughter was, is this my daughter or my son? My son, I can't remember who was sick. Me, I come from my mother, unless you're on the floor dying, is when you're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're pretending. So I'm sorry, I kind of have it a bit. So even when my kids are sick, I'm like, let's watch it. Let's observe it.
Yeah.
He'll pick the kids and be like, you observe.
In the hospital as you finish observing.
Not once or twice he picked the kids and told me, Tupate ho sick, as you're gone. You know. So I miss that, because he was that person. I'm too ghetto.
Yeah.
Let me just put it. I'm very ghetto in even how I bring up my kids. Yeah. And I really feel bad, because trust me, I wrestle with God in that. I'm like, you made them lose the parent who is like normal parents. The parent who is gentle and because I mean, people tell me I'm unapproachable, so you always kind of think, I hope I'm not unapproachable
even to your children.
So I really have grappled with God with that, in terms of you took away the soft landing parent. Were you ever angry with God?
Let me see. Honestly speaking, I don't think I've been angry with God. With my niece, Maya, I was greatly disappointed. I was greatly like, really, God, really? Like, really? But with my dad, as with my bro, even with my dad, I remember praying and asking God, and then the Lord, after telling me there's no mercy, He's shown mercy to him. The Lord also assured me, you will not have a gap in your life, Jade. And it was in the middle of my COVID healing. Actually, no. I mean, it was towards the new year, like months of Nini. Is when I just had my spirit, the Lord saying, there will be no gap in your life. So I know they tell us, we talk about psychologists, as we talk about the stages, there's some stages of grief, about, what is it, denial, anger.
Correction. Those stages were not for grief. They were for someone who is dying. You actually find the source of them. They are for someone who is dying.
Well, you also go through them when you're grieving.
Yes, you do.
When
but initially, the person who came up with them, it was for you who's preparing yourself.
Yeah, but then you actually do go through them. Yes, is what was also discovered. So, you bargain, like, should you have, like, what you do. Then you get into depression, which can be sadness. Then you reach acceptance. And you can have all 5 in 1 hour.
I was about to
There's no linear to this. I mean, we talk about them like that. But I honestly feel like my relationship with God, and this will sound really crazy, I grieved my bro longer, and yet I knew, but I cried the most. I remember coming out of Matatu and my legs giving way, because I had thought about him the whole way from town. But I found with my dad, I have grieved him with Jesus, like, for real. I haven't told my bro. I talked a lot about him all the time. My dad, I haven't, because I tell Jesus the most, and he did the most of comforting me. And because now I knew his scripture more now. This is like 10 years later. Like, what, my bro was 2008. I can't remember.
And it was in 9. We met in
2010. It was 2010, and my dad now is like 16 years. When it was 14 years later. I knew scripture, so I could go comforting, find. Sincerely speaking, I think my relationship with God made all the difference. Did I cry for my dad? I did. Did I feel very low and lost? I did. But I didn't dwell in it. I found I was able to engage back with life much easier. It doesn't mean August I don't feel a certain way. But I memorized my bro's match for the longest. Every match I knew his birthday. I was whenever my dad, I think by 2-3, I think August could pass. I would feel low, but I don't need to tell anybody. I know didn't to say much about it. In fact, I think Father's Day affected me than August. Like Father's Day, I watched my sisters like, oh my God, why are you taking me back there? But it's more than tiny past. So I didn't get angry with God. I just felt, wow, God, He held me up. And I think think it has allowed me to see how far my relationship with God and my surrender with it, the impact of it.
Yeah.
That when that Bible verse says we don't mourn like people don't know God, it really has become true. Like it's true. It doesn't mean you won't mourn.
Yeah.
It's just that you won't be mahututi and whatever. And I have found when I do counseling for grief and especially grief and trauma, especially grief, it's important for me to lead people to Christ, like your source of help. And I always thank God that there are Christians who come, because if you're not a Christian, I'm like, psychology itakupeleka hapa, but up to a point.
Somewhere we did Jesus.
But there's a
The
place
rest of the
Jesus has to
journey
walk
you need
with
to walk
you.
with
Yeah.
Jesus.
So one of the biggest, I think, thing that has come out of for me, and you'll share what came out of your grief. I think one of the biggest things that has come out for me is I do a lot of grief counseling.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, even me, I find it amazing. Like I lean in a lot. And it's one of the sessions. I'll be fast to tell you there might be self-disclosure. I might get emotional. My eyes might tear, but it doesn't mean I find it bore in me something a heart for.
You are able to get into the pain and feel their pain.
And feel their pain. I've done more grief counseling than, especially after my dad. Before that, I don't think I had ever done one. I used to take them everywhere else. I'll tell them there's another counselor who can do better. So that's a big part of what happened. What for you? What do you feel like?
Oh my God, everything about me changed.
Yeah, a lot did.
The Olivia in 2019 and the Olivia in 2020, they were different.
We even wrote a book, but continue. I know.
Let me tell you. For me, in fact, I have had 2, 3, 4 people who've come and asked me, how come you didn't go away from God? Because when they lost someone, then
most people stop. And it's true. And it's hard. You've been praying for that person. Well, we've met people who pray for the person to get well. They don't get well.
Yeah.
You've just gotten married. You're thinking, hello, you could at least give me 5 years with this guy. Keep saying my husband.
Yeah.
Because now you are saying before, but now you're like, Nikona ring, my husband.
I was looking forward to having that wedding band. They collide.
Because the truth is, as much as you live with that guy and you're calling him your husband,
not my husband.
There's a part of every woman, if they are truthful, they are just like, am I really? Yeah, that's so true.
I really was looking forward. In fact, I was looking forward to having that wedding line, ring line anyway. But my walk with God, I never lost my...
thank God.
I never lost. But did I do it alone? No. I always give the example of the story for Moses. Was it Moses who was praying and then...
2 people,
Aaron, was it Aaron? Were holding his hand up.
And Joshua.
For me... I had people who were doing that. Me, there's a season I told people, I'm not praying. I am not praying, you guys are praying. And they held me up. For a whole year, people were praying for me because I was not praying for myself. And not that I didn't know God loved me, not that I didn't know that. In fact, the verse I was given and I still hold on to is, he told me that I'll never leave you nor forsake you. And I kid you not, I've lived by that. He's never left me. But did I pray? No. Did I leave him? No, I didn't leave him. I stood there and I told him, we're going to go through this. Because his word says that he's closest to the brokenhearted. And for real, he was closest to me. It changed me in that, you see life very differently.
Yeah.
I see life very differently. I did a class called Grief Share. And I always laugh because there's a class in Nairobi Chapel called Grief Share for people who are grieving. So I went and I paid. That was in August. So, then it was COVID, so it was online.
Yes.
Let me tell you, online things don't work. Because the moment they start scratching your pain, you just switch off your laptop and you're like, I'm not dealing with this today. So when I finished, I didn't feel like I had healed. Because they keep saying, you're going to feel me. I was like, I'm not feeling. I am not feeling any of all those things. So I went back in the next year for the class. Then the pastor is like, no, you don't have to redo the class. You can facilitate understanding. Anyway, long story short, that's how I started serving in this ministry. And like you said, because Grief Share is more or less like a counseling. You have a group of 10, 12 people you're working with in their grief. And I found that I have a lot of empathy with them. Yeah. I relate with what they are going through because I did go through it. And because by the time I was done Grief Share season 1, season 2, I did 21, 22, but 2023, I was not pro max, but I was able to tell them, but then you'll get out of it. Because by that time I had gotten out of it. Not out of it that I don't cry. By God, let me tell you, there are days you cannot,
True.
Yeah, Valentine's Day is a day that is a no-no.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is a no-no for me as you're celebrating love. God, I've really seen God in this season.
Yeah.
And I love when I take people through the class from week 1 and then I look at them week 13 when they are finished. I'm like, I love seeing what God has done in their journey.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. My sister calls me a sadist because you have to go through all those stories and walk with those people. But it's not a sadist. It's just that because I know at the end of it, they're going to see a light.
In fact, at the beginning, I think you have a lot of compassion for them. The empathy and compassion is real. Like, imagine I get you guys, but I also know at the end of this, you'll find Jesus. Yeah.
So the first class, the second class, because that's when people share. Wait. You go to the car and cry because of all those stories you've had. But I have learned to work with people. I've learned to know what to say and what not to say. Please don't go telling people it is well. It is not well. My God. It shall be well.
But it is not.
It is not well at that point. Yeah. You know, so I've learned to work with people. I've learned to help people in terms of, people call me like, oh, my pal has lost or whoever has lost. What do I do? I'm like, go and shut up. We always say in grief share, the biggest gift you can give someone who's grieving is the gift presence. Just be present. Shut up and be present.
Me, I'd like to say presence and prayer.
Yes.
Just do the two. Presence and prayer is
do not come telling me Bible verses. I do not need to hear the verses at that point, you know. So that it has changed me in that I've gotten a lot of compassion for people. I was able to write a book.
Imagine, you actually wrote a book.
I wrote a book on grief share. Yeah. So God called me and told me I need to write a book to help people who are grieving and who are working with people who are grieving.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a book where you yourself as you're grieving, you can use it, or you can use it to help you work with other people. The do's and the don'ts, you know. So I've seen God during this. He gave me a ministry that I really, really love.
Yeah.
I really do love Grief Share. It's a sad ministry, but it's a necessary ministry.
Imagine.
Yeah, and I've learned to really trust in God. And one of the biggest verse that came to me at that time was when my in-laws were insisting this guy has been killed. And I'm like, He has said very clearly in His word, He numbers the days of our lives.
Yeah.
There's no death that shocks God. Like, oh my God, let me just die. Why are you here? Like, you know, why is he here?
Yeah,
No. He knew. He knows that, this one, your light out is going to be on this day. And because of that, you're able to comfort people and tell them. Because people grapple with, could I have done? Could I, would I, should I?
Yeah, we do.
We really, especially a sick person. And like this one's a shock. Our accident is like, you know.
Yeah.
But, because sudden death, also with grief, one of the things you have to learn is you accept it depending how the person passed on also plays a very big,
it does.
It plays a very big role.
Because if someone has been sick for a long time, sometimes you even asking God, okay, I release the person because they're in pain. There's this, a newborn. And you're right. For me, that's why I guess you're right. The difference is that a newborn, I'm like, Lord Jesus, she needed to, we were ready for this beauty, like more years. She accomplished what she needed to accomplish. And I think my sister says she believes Maya did do what she needed to. And it's true. I mean, because God never makes a mistake. We are the ones left with the love. Yeah. Because the love is what makes us.
Yeah, we grieve because we love.
We grieve because we love.
Yeah. And a phone call, you're being told your person has gotten an accident. Like the way they die.
That's actually a nice thing. You grieve because you love.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's you can think about it like I was capable of love and now I loved. I was loved.
Yes. And also the other weird thing about grieving, as you continue learning about grief, is that you don't grieve the same way. In terms of even husband. I lost my husband. And the women who come to my class who lost their husbands, and I'm not saying my grieving is less, but they grieve. They come like, wow. Yeah. You know.
It manifests differently.
Yes, it manifests differently. Depending on the relationship you had with that person.
Yeah, of loss.
Yeah. You can lose your uncle. I lose my uncle. And you had a closer relationship with your uncle. And everyone is thinking, why is she crying? It's just an uncle.
It's just an uncle.
But they don't know the relationship you had with that uncle.
You know?
So it's different for different people and different for different reasons.
Yeah. So I guess August, grief is something we share in common as friends, see us bonding over grief, over loss of loved ones.
I'm telling you.
But in it all, we truly have seen I've really seen the help of God, I think, especially during the season, the funeral time. I mean, you and many of my friends stepped in because it was also COVID and we couldn't do much, but people were still coming sporadically. My mom was in hospital. The help, seeing people, you're right, just seeing people. Because I remember that morning, by the time I got there, some of my friends had already, came. And wonderful people came, even in toilet paper. Carol came even in trash bags. I was like, we need trash bags. Like, the things you never think about.
Don't even think about
I didn't think about, but she had trash bags. Like, actually, you're right. We need trash bags because the throwing of stuff, but then we had forgotten also it was COVID. So there was we were not eating and whatever. Yeah. But that was such a thoughtful thing. Yeah. I was like, but that would never work out to me. We take bread and milk. Yeah. I always thought of toilet paper and trash bags. I was like, actually, that's true, So people, you guys showed up every day. So even it allows you to see the love of God through people and the support you get. It's amazing that even in the midst of grief, and I know you need to finish, but I remember this, one of the stories when I do devotions and probably if I'm called Mashakaya, people will be saying, you still have the same devotion. But I love the story of Lazarus. And I always say in the Lazarus story, Jesus knew. And not even knew. Jesus is found in a house of mourning. Yes. All those people who ran with Mary to see where is Jesus going, seeing the miracle, I choose to believe half of them believed God. Yes. Like even in a house of mourning, like a place of mourning, people can encounter God. Yes. And I find that's the prayer that now when I enter into spaces, I'm always like, as a person, I pray somebody gets to know God because we gathered here and we have called on the name of the Lord to bring comfort, bring provision, to bring peace, that people will see God in this family that is mourning and desire to know this God. So that's actually also a prayer that even in my stories, my story, and yes, we still cry. I mean, I had to take a breath. I mean, I could start really, I go too much about my dad, but I do want to know that God shows mercy and is big on comfort, His word is. Yeah. And it's what He says, you get comfort from God to comfort others. Yeah. That if you never do anything else with your grief, you never write a book, you never cancel me, but then you're conscious that there's a scripture that says you're comforted and you can comfort us. So just going to other people's home to comfort, do a prayer, presence, watch your milk. We don't have to be all carols. Just watch your milk. And then, it is still honoring to God. It still glorifies God, even in a place of mourning.
And I want to add, before we finish, the way you just said about Lazarus, and just to prove that Jesus does grieve with us. When He entered that house, He also mourned.
Yeah, He also cried.
He cried.
Yeah.
Irrespective, He knew He was going to bring Lazarus back.
Yeah. But he saw these people cried. And it's like, He was broken. He had empathy for Mary and Martha and all these guys.
Imagine.
He
didn't just stand there and go like, you guys,
I got this. I got this.
He went
He looked at them and looked at them and He mourned with them. So He mourns with us. He is not, we are not, when we mourn and cry, which is another thing. I remember when my brother and my mom says, "Wacheni kulia." No, why we cry? So we know He's got saved. I'm like, being saved does not exempt you from crying. God will not say like you're not believing where He's gone. He will not say that if you cry,
you don't believe
you're denying, you're not believing God.
Especially Christians say that.
Of course.
It's like you don't believe in Jesus.
Like you don't believe in Jesus. I'm like, hello, I loved my person and I'm crying because I'm aware that He'll not be here. There's a loss in my life that I need the Lord to help me carry, overcome, live with. So the Lord is part and parcel of grieving. And you said something as how we sometimes can go away. And that's another prayer. And I'm praying when one will listen to this and is going through grief and loss of a loved one, is that the prayer is that you lean in more on God. Don't run away. Don't avoid spaces of fellowship, spaces of prayer. Don't avoid to read the word. Force yourself if you have to. Put worship. Lean in more, even in tears. Don't say anything. Just lean in more in tears. In fact, when my dad died, I went to comfort others, and I would go with Pastor Angie, because when times come for prayer, I'll not be able to pray. But I'll talk to the person and we'll cry together. Then we can pray. Angie has to pray because she's praying for me too. Because we are both willing. But I was like, we will continue to do this. Because I'm going to lean in on God, because my strength comes from Him.
That's true.
And I believe He still loved me even as He rested my dad. His love for me didn't change. You know, only His love for you and your babies didn't change because Newton left.
That's true.
It is true. His love has not shifted. Yeah. I don't know. Where do you have yourself? I'm just like,
okay, today was a tough
we're
one.
about to sing Kumbaya. Is it so? Yeah.
But if you're out there, you're grieving, we really do pray that God meets you in your point of need, that He will remember you, hold on to His love. He's closest to you as you're grieving. May He shed His light, His love on you. May you feel His love and His presence during this season. And with that, we come to the end of our podcast for today.
Yeah. Wow.
Please share, listen, and give us your feedback.
And pray for me and my siblings. I have a sister and a brother and my mother and our children. August is hard. Yeah. In fact, my sis lost her father-in-law in August. So it just
keeps on giving.
It kept on giving. So we have left August to Jesus, and we know it's going to be a great month in the Lord.
Okay. Thank you, folks.
Yeah.